Buenos días, yo soy Sampo, yo hablo poquito español, pero hay muchos años que yo no hablando. Mi presentación is in English, it's a bit easier for me. We try to put translation into Spanish with the Microsoft Teams, so hopefully the microphone will pick up my voice and you'll be able to follow it in Spanish. There are a lot of technologies that help us understand one another, and I'm very happy to be here in Salvador, and thank you for your hospitality that you've shown us. My wife Tina is here also, and it's been a wonderful day already. Looking forward to the next 2 days. Really love the culture of the feeling you have in the school. All the kids are so polite, and of course all of you professionals. I work at the teacher training school at the University of Eastern Finland. We have 10 teacher training schools in Finland. I'm the Finnish lead ambassador for the FCL network, the classroom, the network of future classroom labs. You have the Aula del Futuro in Spain. I've been in Madrid at the ministry at Aula del Futuro, and also the University of Madrid. They have Aula, and then some local schools, but in Madrid. So nice to be here in Catalonia and see the schools. Today's and the following 2 days of 1 hour sessions will be about your physical spaces. We in Finland think that the whole school is an aula del futuro, not just one place where you go do interesting things and then go somewhere else. So the whole school is a possibility in that way to make a change. If we start with, I bought some cards. These are in Finnish. If each table would grab just 2 cards and a little bit about what kind of a feeling they have today. Many of you do not understand Finnish, but how can we use technology to help us in that sense? What can we use? Translator. We can use the Google Lens. If you have the Google Lens, you probably might not have Finnish as a language downloaded, but if you want, you can use, and you can see from the pictures. I feel very happy to be here. We have discussed with a few of your colleagues, I think it was early winter, we had some sharing of experiences about the beautiful projects you have done with the classes. And now the things that we will have during the 3 days is the physical environment, then the ICT in education, and a little bit about the Finnish school system and education system. Feel free to ask any questions or comments at any time. Like it to be more spontaneous than just presenting. So feel free to do that. Sadly, I can't remember all of your names today, but hopefully on Thursday I'll at least have like 60%. That's a good goal. I'm looking forward to the paella we'll be having in a couple of hours. These sweets are from Finland. The red and the white one is hard with chocolate inside, and then the other ones are black, like licorice, and this one is more soft, kind of salty toffee, kind of licorice toffee. Try them. We have plenty more. Take them home to your kids.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. But maybe we won't stand and do. We'll continue. So as I mentioned, we have 10 teacher training schools, and we have the Finnish Aura del Futuros in the teacher training schools. We have both the children, so we teach the kids, and then we have the university students who are studying to become teachers. So all teachers in Finland have studied at the university level. And they have 4 practices during their studies, and 3 of those practices are being done at the teacher training schools. So one part of our jobs is to help the teachers or the teacher students become the best teachers that they are able to become. My job is, I used to be a teacher, but for the last 6 years I've been more involved in the leading of networks and development work, and especially, let's say, in the digitalization of education, and then the development of physical learning spaces. And where I come from, or where we come from with Tiina, is Joensuu, Eastern Finland. It's actually a bit more to the left, so close to the Russian border. So we're looking forward to maybe joining the NATO quite soon. We'll see what Turkey decides. So we have certain things we provide. We cooperate with companies. One example is, for example, just today you have done a project with ThingLink, and we work with them, and I know the owners, so we were able to get a school license for you to try and test if it's nice. We also do a lot of professional development programs, and then educate class teachers, subject teachers, and all kinds of teachers. And we try to be, of course, we learn, we all learn every day. Today I had a wonderful learning experience. We went to a classroom, and I was thinking, why are there shoes on the table? And it was
We got
with
it
a
too.
challenge.
We got it too.
Yeah. So thinking out of the box, that's something you have to do today. Also, come up with new ideas. We're very stuck to our ways of working. We as teachers are quite high. We think very highly of ourselves. I know quite a lot of things, and this is how I've done it. But it's very useful to do it every now and then. Put a shoe on the table and do something.
Like a telephone.
Yeah.
The moment that the telephone is on,
For example,
No sé. L'Albert?
Era un repte.
Sí.
És un esdeveniment de la classe.
if you look at our school,
Són una alarma.
so this is the University of Eastern Finland Teacher Training School where I work. So we have about 1,450 pupils from grades 1 to 12. So we have the primary school, upper secondary school, and then high school. And we have like 3 school buildings. And I get to work in all of them. Whether it's to do with developing the learning environment or pedagogical kind of development, or then leading the projects. Yearly we have about 700 teacher students, so it's a big part of our job. I only have like lectures to them. I don't mentor them anymore. And the staff numbers are about 170, so it's a pretty big school.
Sí, és profe de la UNA.
And today I'm here as a
Ah,
Future Classroom Lab expert. It's really nice to be able to be in a European network. We have a pretty nice group of lead ambassadors. We meet maybe 2-3 times a year. One meeting is in Brussels usually, and then the other ones are somewhere else. Now we'll be in Norway in April, in Stavanger. In Finland, the Future Classroom Lab is a project-funded program. So we started in 2018, and we had 3 labs. One was in Joensuu, Tampere, and Oulu. Those were the schools with, let's say, most innovative learning environments. So I have been involved in the FCL from the beginning. And then from January 2019, I've been the leader of the group and then the Finnish lead ambassador for the network. So we are now in the 4th phase of our funding. So we get funding from the Agency of Education. And now we have 10 labs and about 35 ambassadors. And the labs are not the same. All labs can be different. It's more of an ideology. So it's not like that you have to copy the model from let's say, Brussels. But it's more like a kind of a state of mind and of course making the physical environment suit the ways of learning that you have in your school in the best possible manner. And we have seen a lot of innovative uses of the space, and it's a wonderful thing that you have a lot of room around you with the like the schoolyards and everything, make learning in many ways better. So if we do not receive funding in the future, then we have funding until the end of the school year 24. But we'll apply for funding and they'll probably fund us because it's an EU or SchoolNets project. So then it wouldn't make sense that they wouldn't fund us anymore, but we'll see.
Can I just say,
Yes.
si tothom va seguint, si en algun moment voleu alguna cosa, dieu. Sí, ho sé, però... Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Yeah, feel free. So some of the goals of the Finnish, we call it FC Lab. Usually, or just because the FCL.fi was the domain was taken. So we have FCLab.fi. So the development of the physical learning spaces, educational technology and pedagogy. Now, let's say in the past 2 months, with the sudden rise of OpenAI and let's say ChatGPT, how do we take that? Probably something Danny has thought about. What should you do in Salvador San Roma with the topic? And now there are like no answers. Do we try to block it, or do we somehow try to get it a part of, it's a tool the kids can use, it's a tool us teachers can use, but what is a sensible way of using that? So those are the kind of issues we work with. The ICT staff will probably be working on some coding and makering projects and maybe some little bits of VR. So we'll have 2 afternoons of doing that. School culture is one thing. You do not need very much help in the school culture. You have a wonderful school culture here with a lot of agency and collaboration and cooperation between the kids and of course the staff. So I'm not sure I can give any. One thing we talked with like we have student agents in our school who help. You have the agents who help when you go to, let's say.
Li hem explicat lo dels padrins i fillols.
I que ells també tenen alguna cosa.
So we have the agents in the help of, let's say, digitalization. What was the name of your MacGyver?
Andreu?
Andreu, MacGyver. Yeah.
Yeah. We have Erkki in our school, and Andreo is the one who knows everything, and Erkki is the one who knows everything. So our student agents are called mini Erkkis, and when they are
Mini Andreu.
and when they are helping the, let's say, the smaller ones with coding or how to use the iPad pedagogically in a nice way, they'll put on a T-shirt with Erkki's picture in front, and then it says like Mini Andreo in the back, and a number.
Ho farem, posarem samarretes amb Mini Andreu.
So just to, you know,
Yeah.
of course we asked Erkki if it's okay that we're able
Of course.
to use his brand, but we all need like superstars such as that in the schools, and those are like kind of, we can boost the agency, we can make it something special also for the kids, that, you know, I'm Mini Andreu, and I have my
Yeah, proud.
and I'm proud, and you know, it's something in them too. And of course, when we want that to work, we have to be able to be flexible. Let's say if they were from 6th grade, the Mini Andreus, then, you know, Danny would have to see it as a valuable thing. Okay, my students will be away for 20 minutes helping, let's say in the 2nd grade, someone or whatever. So that's something that you know, it's nice to have. But now, when we talk about, let's say, the pedagogical diverse learning environments, I'm very taken by the amount of collaboration you do on a European level. And it's not very often that a public school from a small town in Spain or Finland has the Erasmus Plus accreditation and works in so many, let's say, networks. And I'm happy to hear that some of you are traveling to Sweden on Sunday and then to Estonia later on in the spring, and receiving also guests. And one challenge we face in Finland, we have a lot of course, possibilities, but then the teachers find it not very easy to take part. So if we try to get the programs running, we always have to, let's say, find the people to do them, and you know, find the people who think that it is worthwhile of doing that kind of things. But when we think of a pedagogical let's say, diverse learning environment, it has to have a lot of different content in it. Here I've learned about the inclusion and the things that you have had in your school. Of course, it has to be, you know, if I walk into a nice hotel lobby, it affects how I feel about the space. It affects my behavior in the same manner when a child walks into a school or a classroom. Mm-hmm. You know, the space has a kind of effect on how they behave and how, you know, they feel. So that's something we have to look into when we are thinking of our classrooms and such. You cooperate with the city when you want to do, let's say, renovations and such, but there's also certain things that us teachers can do. And if we decide to do something, you know, it's fun to do them together. These are just a few small pictures from some of the spaces that I've been involved in planning. There's some different zones for active learning, some different zones for, you know, chilling and that kind of things. You have the chairs for this kind of cooperation and área del sensitiva.
Sensacions, l'aula de sensacions.
Sensacions. So those are like zone kind of thinking, that I have a space, and the space has like certain the space supports certain content that is being done in the space. And that's like the most key thing you have to think of. And when we know what kind of things we want to do with the kids, then we have to look into the space, that how can is there something I can transform in the school physical environment to make this kind of activities better? Is there a place for collaboration? Is there a place for all kinds of different things? In Brussels, they have 6 zones. The same in Spain. I guess it's the same. Interact, present, investigate, create, exchange, and develop. Here you see the zones as, like, this zone is, and then if I step here, then you're in a different zone. But that's not, of course, how it goes. The zones are intertwined, and there's not that this is just for that. At one meeting, we had some guests from Texas who had made an FCL building in their school, and the first time they visited Brussels was they were not very happy that the floors weren't painted in the same manner as it is in the picture.
Mm.
They had planned their FCL in Texas, and they had even painted the floors with the zones. So if you find that important, feel free to paint the floors, but it's not like that essential. In Finland, we have 5 zones, and these zones we did, let's say, research or like about the core content of the Finnish curriculum. So like an analysis of the kind of topics that were the conceptual analysis of the Finnish core curriculum. This was from 2016, and it emphasized these kind of four big topics, and then from those 4 we came up with let's say the 5 Finnish zones, and as I mentioned, the zones go like this, and it's not possible that, let's say, in a space such as this, with about 55 square meters, that I would have all this zones. But if I think of me as a teacher and kids as a learner, it is useful that the kids have a possibility to, let's say, work in that kind of a manner which the zones represent. And there should be places for that in our physical environment. And it's just to help, let's say, if I have a lesson plan and it has, assessment, motivation, that kind of things. When we do this kind of, let's say, brainstorming, it might be worthwhile that I have some kind of a core background into the thinking process. We replanned our schoolyard, and we also used a kind of zone ideology for that as well. So it's quite a useful kind of way of thinking. But it's not strict, not in the FCL. So it's not that you have to do it in such a manner. And some FCLs are at schools, some are at ministry level, some are big. I think about 3-4 weeks ago we visited the FCL in Copenhagen, which is at the teachers' professional high school. They have a staff about 40 working at the FCL, and they have like an FCL path for teacher students. So it's really different to, let's say, if you build it here, we won't have a staff of 40 probably, at least in a couple of years working in the FCL of Salvador San Roma. I'll share the presentations with
Thank
you,
you.
and then we have the video as well. So feel free to watch that every now and then, but not me. And when we start thinking of let's say the development of learning spaces, now we have 3 meetings, and they're not going to be such meetings that I'll be talking all the time. But I would like to see you working quite well in the way you want to work. And because involvement is really important in this kind of, let's say, development. Many times the schools are being built by the, let's say in Finland, the municipalities. The teachers are being heard about their wishes, and they'll tell them to the architects and the planning groups. But then when they see the drawings of the schools that are going to be built, many of the wishes have been crossed. And because money is sadly like a big issue, and especially the municipalities their financial situation is not good at the moment. So if they see, let's say, extra spaces, and many of the people who are in the making the decisions are used to a school. I have like a corridor, I have a classroom, and in the classroom is where the learning happens. And new schools are being built in that kind of manner. We also have quite a lot of open kind of schools being built in Finland as well. And there's a lot of discussion about are the open kind of schools good or not. And it's more to do with, let's say, the pedagogical ideology of the teachers. If I'm a teacher who likes to teach, share information, be in the middle of the learning process, if I go into an open, then my pedagogical ideology and the physical space do not meet one another. So there's a lot of, and if the change has come from somewhere else, then we have a lot of issues in that kind of sense, and we try to, I don't know if you've, not the easiest of things to go tell a colleague that, okay, this is how you should do it.
Because the schools, they are made by the town hall?
By the town, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Usually by the town.
Okay.
And now there's being a survey which is being done by the Ministry of Education and the Agency of Education that is being looked into the pedagogical planning process of, let's say, 15 schools that have been built in the past 3 years. Last week we just had a meeting at the ministry, and that's an interesting survey to have. What have been the ideology, the ideas of the project, and what are the outcomes, and because and why. So that's because there's a lot of money in schools,
Of course.
and it's like you shouldn't build a school that's not good for you, but anyhow. So the kind of participatory design or co-design is really essential. You are sitting in these teams because soon you'll start working on your shared spaces, and I hope that all of you have a say in let's say, the kind of things you want to, maybe what are good, what are bad, and maybe if there's a change you want to have. In the development projects that we have done, we have also tried to get the kids involved, at least partly. Their ideas might be that, okay, we want to have like a slide in the classroom. A slide is nice, but it takes quite a lot of square meters because then you have to have the safety kind of. But in that classroom, we built like there was an like upstairs where they could go with so there was downstairs and upstairs, like I guess it's like 3 times 3 meter kind of where you can go read and that kind of things. They didn't get the slide, but anyhow they had like a part in the process, and it's fun to also get their ideas. They are like the experts in their learning, in their daily lives at school. What are the elements I want to have in my school? Now we're doing for the high school kids where Tina and I work, and the thing that they mostly want is sofas.
Sofas, huh?
Yeah. They want sofas for social interaction. Teachers too, yeah. How many sofas do you have in the teacher's room?
Only one.
Only one.
Because of the space.
Yeah, true.
If we want to eat there, we cannot
Chill
put
out.
any chill out.
Yeah.
Chill out area.
Chill out area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, we brought the bad weather with us, but you know.
Don't worry, we've had it for some time.
We've
Don't
had it
worry.
for some- yeah. But you know that could be something look into. That is there something that we can do with teachers around? Teachers will visit something that and she'll find the money for it.
I'm sure she will.
Yes, yes, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. There you heard it. All right, but when we do this kind of development work, we have to look into many aspects, and many in Finland the kids do not wear shoes in school. They have a lot of clothes. Let's say when you're visiting Sweden next week, you'll have many layers of clothes, big shoes. We have to have a place for them, and all these kind of things have to be taken into consideration. Some of the activities that we have done in Joensuu, here is just a few to name. Those are links that you can have a virtual tour of the spaces that we've done. What we've tried to bring are elements of nature into the school because we live, or more and more, or less and less of real nature is being seen from the school's windows. More buildings. And research shows that let's say, nature has the ability to, from stress or cognitive stress, it's like lowers or makes it quicker the recovery. So that's something that we've done. We've had some pilots with partners, a few others that also. We do workshops. We have done learning and analytics and sensor technology. We have some classrooms with sensors. If I had a sensor here, I guess the temperature would be like 26.5 at the moment.
Perhaps, yes.
That's not optimal for learning. If we look at the level of carbon dioxide in this room, it would be maybe close to 900. Not optimal for learning.
Open the window.
Yeah, open the window. And why we have this kind of sensors is to try to find the things that do not or might be like challenges for learning. And then if we can set the automation of the air conditioning in such a level that in that space.
You should come in May.
I can imagine.
May, June, or September.
Yeah.
It's really hot.
Yeah. How much do you work outside during them? But
No,
it's
it's worse. It's
impossible.
worse.
So you
Yeah.
try. Yeah.
We close the with the.
Yeah. So the sun
the-
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something maybe in the future we could look at then. We have the research activities. One interesting research we just started to do with inclusiveness is we have like 3 different technology periods. We work with, let's say, special groups and children with special needs. And we're having 3 interventions of different technologies, and we're trying to boost their communication skills and also their self-esteem, because they're not the kids who, let's say, shine in the schools. So it's really nice. We have like postdoc. Many of my colleagues have done their PhDs. So that's a nice project. You know, combining research with development is important. We, as a part of the university, have a nice position that we're able to also get the researchers involved and get like the best, or not maybe the best, but at least theoretical, let's say, collaboration in quite easily. That's nice. One project is from one of our schools. I'll be quick so you'll get started on your work. We have the kind of cell ideology in one of our schools. And a cell is a bit similar as you have here. You have the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. You have the classrooms. You have the common space.
In the corridors. The corridors.
Corridor. And in this space, there was more of an ideology that we fit, because there are 2 in each, 2 6th graders, 2 6th grades, 2 5th grades, and then 2 special groups with special, like smaller groups. So the collaboration was more between the 5th graders and the 6th graders, but the school is built in a way that it is a cell school. And when I start planning my lessons and my weekly things in the school, I should think from a cell point of view, not just like a pair of teachers. And that's a big transition that we're trying to make with the teachers. How can I bring more communal or community kind of boosting elements into the everyday life of the school? What you told us about the things in kindergarten this morning, I was really happy about that. Every Friday you mix them up. You have you get to know all the children, you get to know all the adults, and you have a community of, let's say, the 120 kids and adults, and then it's not just my teacher. You are all my teachers and my kids in my class, so they're all kind of, and that's something we need, and it makes things much easier. And you can see that you have a really like a big sense in the community kind of thing. So hats off to a wonderful job, and of course good leadership in that sense, that it's a value that we want to have, and we're ready to do events that boost that kind of things. It's not, for example, in Scandinavia, it's not something that we might have once a month, an event, maybe a morning assembly with some dancing.
Max is not here, no.
Yeah, Max.
No.
Yeah.
She had a training.
But anyhow, so this is just. So this was like a project we did with them, and this is the first thing we started with. The values of that cell. You have the values of Salvador San Roma. But now I want you to think of the core values of your, let's say, the 4th to 6th graders. maybe 5 is enough. And then what are the ones for infant, for the smaller ones? And then what are the ones for first to third graders? And we have beautiful materials here.
Se va escapando el otro. Se va a superior, tú vas infantil y tú vas a municipio.
Quin era el
Sí,
salari?
fonamentals.